Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tori and this is Holy City Mystic. So, I got a notification the other day that said congratulations to 3 years on YouTube. I got pretty excited about that and I was just kind of reflecting on everything that has happened over the last 3 years and I wanted to make a video about it. So when I first decided to start a YouTube channel about astrology, it was just because I felt like there were gaps in information out there that I could probably fill. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to talk about living on a Pluto line. I'm going to talk about having Yods in your birth chart. And the more I got into it, the more I realized that it was information that people were like really excited to find out about and to find out that they weren't alone. So I had so much fun making Yod videos and just, kind of diving deep into other subjects that I was interested in. And what ended up happening was people would discover me and then they would book readings with me and I would get to hear their stories and it would give me just a better knowledge about Yods and the different ways that they could show up in a person's life. And so at this point, I've done over 100 readings for people with Yods in their charts. Since a lot of people come to me, they don't all just have one. Some of them have two, fewer even than that have three, but some people have like 5 in their chart. So I need to go back and look up all the Yods that I've actually looked at, but at this point, I know it's in the 200s to 300s range. And so that made me an accidental expert on this subject, which I'm fascinated by, I'm so excited about it, but since I got to talk to all these people about their Yods and how it's showing up for them, it's just been so exciting learning more. And I really have you guys to thank for it, because without you guys telling me all of your stories and showing up the way you are, being vulnerable with your stories, I really appreciate you guys. So I did want to talk a little bit about my astrological consultations and how those look, because I've been getting some questions about them recently and I just kind of want to let everybody know. First of all, with pricing. At this point, I am charging $125 for a 60-minute session. It is a Zoom call because I had to switch over from Skype. I was very disappointed because I loved Skype. It was working for me. And now I'm on Zoom, so it's fine. You can choose to record or not record. It does not matter to me. It is for you to go back and see things that you missed. Some people choose not to record. That is totally fine. If you do choose to record, I will send you a copy of the recording afterwards through an email. Now, another thing on prices. I do not like pricing people out. I absolutely do not like that. And so I have this system that I use where whatever price I was at the first time you booked with me, that is your forever price. So I have some people who booked with me on Etsy and they're paying like $65 for a 60-minute session, which is half of what I'm currently charging. And they will pay that forever. Also, all last year I charged $95. The people that booked with me last year, it doesn't matter if, 5-10 years from now, whatever it is, they want to book with me again, that is their forever price, no matter what. So if you're watching this and you got a reading from me a while ago and you're just like, man, I could really use another one at some point, but now she charges $125 and that's not really in my price range. If you booked with me when I was cheaper, you will always pay that cheaper price. So as far as logistics go, you would email me, we would work out a time that works for both of us, and then I would send you a link to the call and an invoice. The invoice is due anytime before the session. And then once we get on the call, one of the first things I ask you is, would you like this recorded? And then we go ahead and record or decide not to record. As far as my style of readings go, I am not about to tell you who you are. That is not my intention with any of this. To me, astrology is a tool. It's not a party trick. So I'm not trying to impress you with like how accurate I am or anything like that. Kind of my style is we are going to figure this out together. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. We're going to look at things. I'm going to tell you kind of what the symbolism could be, and then you're going to tell me how it relates to your life. Because every single sign and every single house can mean 20 different things. I'm not going to pretend to know exactly how these things are playing out for you. My sessions are always strictly confidential. I'm not going to share any of your information with anybody else. I do have some clients who have had just some really great examples of things, and I've asked them, can I de-identify all your information, but please share this example because it's so good. And many of them have been gracious enough to say yes. So when I tell you a story about another client, it's because I have permission to tell that specific story. I would never tell any stories that people don't give me permission for. When it comes to house systems, I use Placidus and whole sign. I get both charts for every single session. And the reason why I do that is because whole sign is more accurate for certain things and Placidus is more accurate for certain things. I made a whole video on this, but just the upshot of that is Placidus or any quadrant-based system is going to be more accurate for internal things. So it would be like something you're writing in your diary for how you feel about something. Whole sign is going to be more accurate for external events. So that would be like you're walking around and somebody is watching you. They're not inside your head, but they can see different things that happen to you in different interactions that you have. So the reason why I pull both is because if we're looking at Yods, you definitely want to look at the psychological nature of that. And so I'm going to look at a psychological house system to answer a psychological question. If you want to know about different things coming up for you, different events that might pop up or things that you have planned, I might shift to whole sign. I might see, what that looks like and then come back to Placidus for that. There are different things that just honestly work better in whole sign, like if you want to look at your career or any kind of outward expression. Also, your MC is going to fall within a house in whole sign. So it's going to be in the 9th house, 10th house, even 11th house sometimes. In Placidus, your MC is actually the line in between your 9th and 10th house. So it has its own meaning, but it does not fall within a certain house. So just knowing where your MC falls is good added information to have, and you would have to use whole sign to decipher that. So while I'm doing readings, I don't like wasting people's time. So another thing that I always ask right up front is, what do you know about astrology? What is your experience with astrology? Just so I know how fast I can go. And, if I'm going to spend 20 minutes on your moon, but you are being very kind and letting me talk about that, even though you're very comfortable with your moon and you do not need any more information on that. That way I kind of know right off the bat how fast I can go, what would be the most relevant to you during this time we have together. As far as the types of readings I do, let me start with the ones that I don't offer. I don't do horary, which is basically where I'm predicting what's going to happen to you. Now, I'm totally fine with looking at upcoming transits, the energies that they may have or whatever, but as far as, you being like, hey, what's going to happen to me in 5 years? I don't know, honestly. Personally, I don't think you can know. However, there are some people who are very amazing at horary astrology and they do a really good job and it's very relevant to a lot of people. I also don't do chart rectifications. I have a dear friend who does those and she's really freaking good at them, so I will refer you to her. And we actually have very similar pricing right now, so that really shouldn't be an issue. And what that is where you kind of work backwards to decipher the time you were born. So what I mean by that is not everybody has the time they were born on their birth certificate, and they might not be in contact with, or they might not have a parent that remembers what time exactly they were born. They might have like a 2-hour window or something like that. Without a specific time, there are some things that you just can't do with astrology. And so some people pay to have a chart rectification done where the person will ask them different events that happened during their life and they'll kind of pinpoint the likely time that they were born in order for all these things to play out. Another thing that I do not do, and this one is actually kind of surprising since I do have a lot of videos on this, but I do not do astrocartography readings. The reason why I don't do those is because, number one, I don't really like doing them. And if I offer something that I don't like to do, my heart's not really in it and it's not a good experience for either one of us. But the second reason why I don't like doing them is I feel like people looking for this, and I know it was definitely true for me when I was looking at this, is they're looking for somebody to tell them what to do. And if you've ever had a reading from me, I am never going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you, different paths, what they might look like and stuff like that. But that is not my job. My job is not to tell you what to do. And since there are so many factors with astrocartography that go into it, it's not just one planet moving, it's your entire chart moving around. For me personally, I'm paranoid that I might miss something and give you bad information. And so it's just not the type of reading that I'm super comfortable doing. So, that's one of those know your limits. That's one of my limits. Again, I do have a very dear friend who is amazing at astrocartography readings, and I can send her to you if that is something you are interested in. Now, the ones that I do. I can do your regular old birth chart. I absolutely love those. A lot of people come to me for Yod interpretations, which again, it's one of my passions, so I'm very happy to do those. Some of my favorite things to do are actually life purpose ones, where you look into your career, you look into the things that are relevant to you and most meaningful for your life. I really like doing life purpose readings where you can look into, your MC, your IC, look into all those things and what would bring you the most meaning in this life. Some of my absolute favorite ones to do are actually family lineage type things, where you can look at the dynamics within your family, look at several charts all at the same time and just see different dynamics playing. And the reason why I like those so much is, more often than not, there's someone in the family who is meant to be the teacher of the rest of the people. And when you look into that, it's usually the one that was ridiculed, the one that was called the oddball or the black sheep or whatever it was. And they're the ones that were actually meant to be the teachers of the family. And so it's just really beautiful looking at all those different factors and then speaking to people about their dynamics in their family and just like kind of seeing the light come on for like, oh, it's like all these things that drove me crazy or all these things that I was ridiculed for were actually relevant to the growth of my family as a unit. I also love talking to people about their Saturn returns. That is a huge passion of mine. I also do synastry, composite. I like doing year ahead charts, all those things. So if there is something where, you'd like to get my take on it or something like that, if it's one of the ones that I definitely don't do, I will refer you to somebody else. However, if there's one that I mentioned or one that I didn't mention but you're curious about, just shoot me an email and I will tell you if I do them or not. And we can kind of talk about what your expectations are there and how I can meet them. In the 3 years that I've been on YouTube in this astrological space, I have had so many high points. I would say my highest high point was actually having an interview with Levine about his take on Yods. That was absolutely amazing, and I'm still kind of in shock that that happened. So, absolutely tickled to death by that. Also, just being able to put out things that I'm very interested in. So there was one that I did on communication styles and journaling. So, it was kind of journaling by your Mercury sign, I think was the name of it. And that one was just something that I was just like thinking about one day in the car, and I'm just like, wow, this system actually really works. And so I did a video on it and it was super fun. It wasn't really that popular, but it made me super happy. Like I really enjoyed talking about it. So that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm tickled to death to be here, and I love the interactions I have with you guys. I really love speaking to you guys when I'm doing your astrological consultations, and I'm happy to be here. And it's because of you guys that I'm here right now. So thank you so much, and you guys take care.